the scent of old money, polished marble, and ambition hung heavy in the air of the grand metropolitan ball. My name is Mark, and I'm a man who prides himself on control, on foresight, and on making the right decisions. I built my career in finance by eliminating risks, and 5 years ago, I had categorized my relationship with Sarah as a necessary risk to eliminate. I told myself she was too gentle, too willing to compromise, too quiet to survive the fierce, competitive life I was destined for. I needed a partner who could command a room, not just observe it from a corner. Sarah was sweet tea. I needed single malt whiskey. So, I walked away, cleanly, politely, and without ever looking back, convinced I had saved us both from an eventual, suffocating dullness. I had assumed that without my so-called guidance, she would simply drift, maybe settle down in a small town, maybe pursue her quiet passion for restoring antique books. She would become the version of Sarah I had neatly filed away in my memory, a pleasant, but ultimately forgettable, detour. Tonight was supposed to be a victory lap for me. I was here to accept a prestigious award for my firm's expansion. I felt sharp, impenetrable, and perfectly satisfied with the choices that had led me to this moment. But then, I saw her, the lingering shadow of what was, the quiet ghost of the past, solidified into a figure so dramatically transformed, so utterly unrecognizable, that my blood ran cold. Sarah. She wasn't in the beige silk dress I remembered, the one that faded into the background. No, she was wearing a gown the color of deep emerald velvet, architectural, severe, and demanding attention. The neckline was sharp, the fabric perfectly tailored to accentuate a presence that was magnetic and utterly commanding. Her hair, which I remembered as a soft, messy wave, was now pulled back in a sleek, severe style that emphasized the fierce intelligence in her eyes. But it wasn't the dress or the flawless cut of her hair that held me captive. It was her aura. The quiet accommodation that defined the Sarah I knew was gone. She moved through the crowd with an easy, powerful grace, acknowledging greetings with a slight, confident nod. She wasn't seeking validation or approval. She was simply their asterisk, and the room tilted on its axis to regard her. She was a single malt whiskey, matured, potent, and utterly captivating. I watched, paralyzed, as she paused by the main bar. An older man, a prominent industry figure whose approval I'd chased for months, approached her. Instead of bowing out, as the old Sarah would have done, she met his gaze levelly. They talked for several minutes, and I watched him laugh, a genuine, unguarded laugh, while she maintained a serious, thoughtful expression. She wasn't laughing to please him. She was engaged in a conversation of substance, of equals. My heart began a slow, sickening rhythm against my ribs. What happens when you see someone you walked away from years later, and they're completely unrecognizable? Not just different, but unforgettable. My internal monologue, usually a fortress of justification, began to crumble. I flashed back to our last conversation. I had gently suggested she needed to be more ambitious, that she was too soft for this world. I told her she needed a fiercer spirit to survive. I had crushed her quiet strength and mistaken her kindness for weakness, blinding myself to the iron will beneath her gentle exterior. The woman standing across the room, this magnificent, transformed creature, was the living, breathing proof of my catastrophic misjudgment. She hadn't drifted, she had focused. She hadn't settled, she had climbed. Later, I managed to corner a colleague, forcing myself to ask the question I dreaded. Sarah, what is she doing here? What is she doing now? My colleague looked at me with an expression of mild shock. Sarah Vance, where have you been? Mark, she is the CEO of Other Design. She took over that struggling firm 3 years ago and turned it into a billion-dollar consultancy. She's the reason the New City Library initiative is succeeding. She's the challenge everyone in this room is trying to catch up to. A billion-dollar consultancy. Other Design. The name was whispered with a mixture of fear and respect in boardrooms across the city, a firm known for its bold, uncompromising vision. This wasn't the woman I had dismissed. This was the competitor I had unknowingly created. I finally found the courage to approach her. My movements were stiff, hesitant, betraying the control I normally wielded. "Sarah," I managed, my voice sounding foreign even to my own ears. "It's Mark. I hadn't realized you were back in the city." She turned, and her eyes, once soft and warm for me, were cool, sharp sapphires. She didn't flinch. There was no flicker of old pain, no hint of lingering resentment, just a polite, professional acknowledgement that only served to magnify the emotional weight of my past actions. "Mark," she replied, her voice low and even, the confidence in her tone like a physical barrier. "It's good to see you. I've been here. You just haven't been paying attention." Her words were a scalpel, perfectly dissecting the arrogance of my initial assumptions. I realized with sickening clarity that I had dismissed her existence from my world, and in doing so, I had forfeited the right to be part of hers. I searched frantically for a bridge, a way back to the comfortable familiarity of our shared history. "Your work, Ether Design, it's incredible. You always had that fire. I'm glad you finally found the opportunity to." She cut me off, smoothly and politely, allowing no opening for me to claim any credit or proximity to her success. "I found the opportunity when I stopped looking for validation, Mark. It's simply the result of getting organized and prioritizing what truly matters." I learned that quickly after the last time we spoke. She didn't linger on the word asterisk quickly asterisk. She didn't have to. The transformation, the sharp tailoring, the confident posture, the unyielding focus was the direct, undeniable result of the pain my dismissal had inflicted. I hadn't stopped her growth. I had catalyzed it. The Sarah I saw now was the one she became. When she realized she no longer had to diminish her own potential to fit into my narrow, arrogant expectations, a powerful investor approached her, murmuring an apology for interrupting their conversation. Sarah gave me a final, polite smile, the kind you give a minor acquaintance you have no intention of seeing again. "If you'll excuse me, Mark, I have to discuss the details of the merger." She turned and walked away, her emerald dress catching the light, and this time, the room didn't just notice her, it followed her, waiting for her command. I stood there alone, the award I was about to receive suddenly meaningless. The profound regret wasn't just that I had lost her, but that I had been blind to the sheer force of nature she was all along. My past actions, my arrogance, had robbed me of a life with this extraordinary woman, and now I could only witness her greatness from the distance of my own self-imposed exile. She was no longer a ghost. She was an unforgettable monument to my failure. And the worst part, she didn't even notice I was still standing there. The dramatic change I witnessed wasn't just her transformation. It was the horrifying realization of my own devastating loss. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.